Hey everyone, it's Paul with ToolMetrix, and I wanted to talk a little bit about cutting board finishes. There are a lot of different options that people consider, and I wanted to give you some impressions on each of those. I've been in the cutting board business for about 8 years with my father now. We've learned a lot about finishes along the way. I'll share with you the approach that we use and give you some impressions on some other options that are out there. So first one that a lot of people consider is polyurethane. I use this on furniture and I love it. Great wipe on, easy application product. Not so great on cutting boards though for two reasons. One, there's some nasty chemicals that you don't want having in contact with your food. And two, it's a surface buildup finish, which means you're going to be slicing through it on a regular basis with a knife. And it's going to not look very good after a short period of time, and it's not going to be very easy to maintain on a cutting board. You don't want to be applying polyurethane on a regular basis in the kitchen. At least my wife doesn't want me to be doing that. So I rule that one out. Even the food-safe polyurethanes, like this salad bowl finish, this is a great product. I do use it on salad bowls that I turn on the lathe. I would put it on serving trays and so forth. But when I'm slicing through it, I don't want to use that product because it's not going to look very good for very long. So that puts you into the penetrating oil family of products, and that's where you want to turn your attention for cutting board finishes. So the first one that is often considered is tung oil. That's a great penetrating oil. I use that one also on a lot of different projects, but I don't use it on cutting boards because there's some controversy around whether or not it's food safe, and I'm not an expert on that, so I'm not going to get into that debate. It doesn't offer enough of a benefit in terms of additional durability for me to consider that as a cutting board finish. So I rule that one out. Even though it smells great and I love using it, I don't use it on cutting boards. Walnut oil is a food safe finish. It is a curing oil. It's one of the very few curing oils that are out there. Like the ones that I'm aware of: walnut oil, tung oil, boiled linseed oil, and the rest of the oils I'll talk about don't cure. So in theory, that does offer additional protection, and I really thought that this would be a great cutting board finish. And it's okay in terms of the durability, but it really doesn't add enough to really make it worth the additional cost. The cure time is also really slow on this. There's one other thing that I don't like about this is the potential risk of a nut allergy. Now, there's a lot of controversy around that topic. Some would say because of how it's rendered or whatever, that it reduces the risk or even eliminates the risk of triggering a nut allergy. Others would say there is still some mathematical risk. I have friends and neighbors that have nut allergies. That's a nasty thing, so I don't want to be responsible for triggering that. So for the cutting boards that we sell, we definitely don't use that. I think the risk is really low, somewhere between 0 and probably a fraction of a percent. But because of that, because of the higher cost of this type of product, I don't use it on cutting boards. Now, this is a nice product I use this on some turning projects as well, and I think it's great for that. But again, I don't put it on cutting boards that I would sell. Vegetable oil, a lot of people ask about, is it okay to use vegetable oil on a cutting board? Yes, with one caveat. So it does work pretty much as well as some of the other products in terms of it penetrates in, it makes it look nice again, kind of heals those knife scars, etc. The downside of this is it will go rancid over time. So if you're going to use your cutting board on a regular basis and wash it on a regular basis, it's okay to refresh the finish once in a while with vegetable oil. But if you're going to put that on a shelf for any period of time, then you don't want to use that because it will go rancid. I also wouldn't put it on an end grain cutting board because with an end grain cutting board, that oil is going to penetrate so deeply into the wood that even if you wash it regularly, you might not get all of it out, and you may have a situation where it's going to go rancid over time, even if you're washing it every day. So that's kind of how I view vegetable oil, which brings me then to mineral oil-based products. So this is a product that's specifically designed for cutting boards. You can get mineral oil, food-safe mineral oil, at a pharmacy. Good stuff. I do use that once in a while when I don't have this on hand because I have a 24-hour pharmacy not far from home, so I can stop by and pick that up. That is generally what I find is the pharmaceutical laxative style mineral oil is a lot thicker I like this product better because it's thinner and penetrates more deeply into the wood. I can get more product into the cutting board more quickly. This also has vitamin D as an additive. Now I wondered, why would you put vitamins in something that's going into a cutting board? Vitamins are to keep people healthy and live longer. Why would you put them into something that's already dead? And so I did some homework on that and found that they add the vitamin D as a stabilizer for the product itself. So it's not, it doesn't really enhance anything per se in the cutting board, and they're not assuming that the vitamin D is going to migrate through your food into you. It's just give it more shelf life, essentially. So that's a good product. Doesn't offer a ton of additional moisture resistance, but really what I've found is that none of these penetrating oils do. It's really all about ease of maintenance and reapplication, and that's what I look for in a cutting board finish. So we do use this product typically as I guess I'd call it a base coat. We'll put a couple coats of mineral oil onto the cutting boards, let those soak in deeply. And then this product is a combination of mineral oil and wax. So this I put over as a top coat, put a couple coats of this on, buff it out nicely, and that does give you a little bit better moisture resistance than these other penetrating oil products. Lasts a little bit longer between applications, but still not extremely long. So whatever product you use in these penetrating oil family, you're going to plan on maintenance, reapplying. I probably reapply on a monthly basis or so, and that's through daily use. You have to probably reapply a little bit more often on long grain cutting boards than end grain cutting boards. But still, you're going to have to reapply. This product with that wax in it does a couple things. One, it extends the time between applications, and it also, I think, makes it look a little bit better in terms of healing those knife scars. That wax just kind of blends in the knife scars a little bit better and gives you kind of a nicer looking cutting board. Now, I did run some tests. I put these 4 products on a couple different pieces of wood to test. I used cherry, maple, and white oak. And what I found is that, first, what struck me was the uniformity of color across the wood. It pretty much looked identical, certainly after I applied it. I put 2 coats of each, let it sit 48 hours, and then I went through a series of washing with water and then scrubbing with hot soapy water. And what I found was that the only one that held up and repelled water after 2 scrubbings was this product, the Butcher Block Conditioner. But even that had lost most of its ability to repel water after just 2 scrubbings. And all of them really looked like they could use a reapplication. So there is no panacea out there. But again, either of these products makes it really easy to just hit it again right in the kitchen and get a nice looking cutting board again. So there you have it. There's a view on a bunch of different finishes for cutting boards. Hope this is helpful for you. I would ask you to subscribe to the ToolMetrix channel. If you found this helpful, there'll be a lot more videos coming on tools and techniques and projects. And I appreciate you watching. Thanks.